Welcome back to the MotorHead YouTube channel, guys. Today what we're doing is we're getting right back on our BMW E30. In this episode, we want to get this motor in there all mounted up correctly, and we want to get the transmission tightened up, and then we'll do a few other little odds and ends. So let's get started. Alright, so we got it lifted up on the lift, guys, and I'm already seeing some issues. We can see that the transmission is hitting the wall here, and it is way too low. So what we're going to have to do is actually lower it down and try and get this motor in its correct position. I'm seeing we're going to have to take this plate off right here. That way we can bring this transmission up because it is sagging. So let's go ahead and start on that. We'll lower it down and focus on getting this motor exactly where it needs to be. Alright, so to start, we're actually going to have to drop this motor down because there's no way to get that plate off of the transmission shifter without getting it out. So we're going to drop it out. So we need to take these off and then lift it right back up. Alright guys, so this is what we were talking about, this shield right here. It's a rubber boot. We are going to recreate it, and that way it seals the outside from the transmission tunnel. So we're going to go ahead and get it off and see what's up. Alright, so we got this piece off, and basically all we're going to do is just cut out this shape into the transmission tunnel, and this will slip on top and bolt down, and it'll also seal it from the outside weather, and it'll be just like OEM. So now what we need to do is lower down the car and get that center console out. That way we can start working around that metal. Alright guys, so we get the center console out. What we're going to do is sort out all this stuff in here and take the carpet out. That way we don't mess anything up when we are doing some cutting. Alright, so we got the majority of the car stripped down. We decided to leave the carpet in because you do have to pull the dashboard out to get it out, and we don't want to do all that hassle right now. So for now, we need to get this motor in its position so we can start mucking this.
Alright, so that's the back, right? The back of the shifter? Or the front?
No, that's the front.
Okay, that's the front. So,
yeah, it sits like that.
okay, so we toss this. We just have to center this.
Center it and cut it out.
Oh, put it right on that bolt right there. It's perfect, I think. Oh no, I'm gonna center it like this.
No, it doesn't. We need to get the motor in the spot because it sits. I don't remember if it sits too far.
Oh, it lines up perfectly like this.
Alright, so we have the motor exactly where we need it, and now Yuri is going to mark out where we need to cut it. Alright, so we're ready to cut that hole. I'm going to go ahead and lower this transmission a bit. Alright, so Yuri made a nice clean hole. Now we're about to do our first test fitment, see how it goes. Oh yeah, that's like OEM right there. Let's see if this will fit on it.
Now give me 1 second. So.
Oh, that fits in there nice and clean. I like it.
Perfect. We're supposed to get bolted down.
Oh yeah. Well, as you can see, guys, it's looking very nicely. Now we'll just have to probably do 4 nuts or riv nuts.
Yeah,
we'll see. And then just bolt it down, and then we can start working on the mount underneath that holds the transmission. Got it all lifted up. Now we can see what we're working with. And as you can see, we just need to remake this bracket right here. That way it'll bolt on. It's actually pretty close. That's pretty crazy, but it's obviously not going to work. And this mount is broken, so we're going to have to get another mount off our parts car. So basically all we have to do is just remake this bar right here. And then we have to make sure the motor is sitting how it's supposed to be, and we'll be good to go. Start off, guys, we need to take this off because it is in the way and it's not going to work for our setup. So it's just simply 212s, and this one's already broken off. So we just got to take it off right there. We got this piece off. Now Yuri's about to take off that busted mount. We went ahead and took this one off the parts car transmission. Alright, so we went ahead and replaced this mount. Now we can build off of it. And we went ahead and put the transmission dead center with our Durablock, because you know they're always straight. And we're actually thinking about how we do this transmission mount, and Yuri came up with a genius idea.
Yeah, so we couldn't figure out how to make this mount right here attach the transmission to the body and still have some sort of strength, because I'm guessing that these bodies had a different setup. So we're gonna do like a whole skid plate with some mild, I think it's what, 10 gauge steel?
Yeah.
And we're gonna actually bend it the same way the tranny is bent right here. And that's also gonna match the angle of these two mounts, which will then just bolt right onto it. And we'll have multiple connections to the body on that skid plate and some air vents in it. So it'll function as a skid plate and a transmission mount.
Yeah, and it'll protect this transmission. That way we don't bust it up, just in case we wanna go low.
You know, and it's gonna happen on a
Yeah.
drift vehicle. It's, you know, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and start fabbing this thing up.
Let's do it. All right, so we want our skid plate to be about probably an inch from the transmission, and we're gonna want to connect it right here on the stock transmission connection points. So right now we're gonna measure out exactly how much steel we need to make these bends and you know, have it fit right with all the proper clearances. So we're gonna get right on cutting that steel out right there as soon as I get it measured up. So 17 wide. We're gonna do 20-inch wide piece. Yeah, so we'll do 20 inches wide. We'll split that in the center, so we'll have 10 inches on each side to play with. If we have too much, we'll cut it off. If we don't have enough, we'll be screwed.
Facts. Let's do it.
So we got our piece cut right here at 20 inches exactly. Got lucky.
Nah, that was a little bit of skill involved.
Nah, that was luck. That, you know. Anyways, we're gonna bend this thing in half, and we're gonna bend it just a little bit and fit it up. See how it works. If we need to bend it more, we bend it more. If less, we'll stop. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a nice little kink and see where we're at.
All right. so it's ready for its first test fit.
All right, center, right there. Oh, nice. Okay, so basically what we got going on here, we're gonna make this center bend a little bit more sharp, I guess you could say, because you can see when we're mounted right here, this one is a little bit off. So we need to close that up more and make the same bend as on this side. Once we do that, we'll be able to actually put it where it's gonna go, which will be right here. And the surface area of this mild steel is going to make up for the fact that it's not a nice big thick bracket. That's why we wanted to make a kind of a big one, which actually doubles as a skid plate as well. So I think it's gonna look really cool once it's done, and it's definitely gonna serve its purpose. So let's see how we do. That's the mark, yeah? All right, guys, so here's where we're at. We actually got our main piece of the bracket bolted up onto the transmission mounts. And what we're going to do is go ahead and use self tappers right here and mount the bracket to the body. The reason we were going to do that is because this is the closest we've gotten this to where it's originally going to be, and we're also going to need pilot holes for our rib nuts anyways. So self tappers are going to hold it in place now temporarily. Later the self tappers holes will serve as the pilot holes for the rib nut bolts that are going to go here. And right here, if you see, we had to cut out a spot because the level where the transmission mounts was a little bit higher than the bottom of the transmission. So to bolt this plate to the mounts, we didn't have any clearance here. So what we're actually going to do here is trim this up a little bit more after we get this bolted on, and then make a little drop down piece that's going to be welded in here, because we still want to keep that level of protection right there on that. And then here, as you can see, it's kind of out of whack, but the reason is because we didn't know exactly how much bend we needed to do here, and we didn't know exactly where we were going to mount this. So as you can see right here is a perfect spot where the original mounts were. We're gonna actually bend this up in there, make sure that we make a nice crease somewhere up in this area right here to accommodate for the mounts, and then bolt that to the body with the self tappers. Once that's done, we're gonna start welding this piece in right here. And then once we get that piece welded in, we'll clean up all the edges, make all the shapes look, good, and then do the rib nuts. All right, sounds good.
All right, you already got it mocked up on here. It's just temporary. We still have a lot of work to do. We need to pan all these edges and then box this in, but that'll be later, guys. It's getting late on us. That's gonna be it for this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and comment down below, and follow me on Instagram at motorhead.co. Peace.